Attention, all of my elevated content seekers. We Believe Digital is designed to inspire. Whether it's music, news, entertainment, We Believe Digital has the content that you don't want to miss. We're bringing you the best in news, entertainment, sports, inspiration, and so much more. Not only are we designed to inspire, but you can advertise with us and reach your target audience now. Got something that you believe in? Well, we believe in you, and we're offering you the opportunity to become a podcaster at We Believe Digital Studios. To become a want to know more? You can contact us at www.webelievedigital.com. And while you're at it, be sure to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Roku at We Believe Digital.
Welcome. You know, the more welcomes I say, the more it's gonna get big. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to Make It Make Sense, Jackson. I am your host, Keanu Perry. You know me by a young man or KP Keanu Perry, like I just said, or Mr. Jackson, Keanu Perry Jr. I might got a couple more names on the way. I don't know. Might be father, might be dad.
They're trying to remember the ones you just hit him with, man. You can't hurt them with the new ones.
Oh man, there's so many new names. But I, along with my co-host, you know, I won't forget about you,
Tariq Abdul Tawab. I like to talk like this is a beautiful setup. See, when you prepare those to come after you and they start to be able to come before you. And you don't understand. And some of y'all probably don't understand where I'm getting some of my time from. Like, he got new, fresh investigation time because a young man's able to take up for some of those things. And now I got time.
Oh, yeah. You got time, man. It feels good to have time to do stuff.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I know it do.
Yes, it does.
But
you can find things in time. Time is when you find it, right? Yeah, when you're rushing is when you, and right now as a city, we're getting attacked from a lot of different, you know what, let me not to use the word attacked. I've learned to be we're getting attacked from all, you see what I did there? You have to use it. So you look at everything we're dealing with, then we're going to launch slowly. You look at the fact that right now we're talking about gentrification happening in the city. You can't deny it at this point. You're talking about the airport land around it has already been lost. We're fighting for the water authority. We've already seen an increase in water bills that we already can't justify paying, meaning we don't know how they got there. And then you start inviting in a lot of the other things that started happening. Our fire department rating has dropped. Our ISO, our insurance rating has dropped. And now we have to worry about looming in the background the same type of activity we saw with our police department in the Capitol Police Force, where they started to fund themselves at a much higher rate than the city police force was being funded. And then it became a separate police force within the city. Right. So now we have a fire department where we're watching the same thing happening rapidly after a captain was pushed 4 positions up to to fire chief. And the former fire chief, Willie Owens, made a very stark statement to Mayor Owens where he said, if you do not take my advice and put Assistant Chief Patrick Armand as the fire chief, or obviously I'm assuming bring somebody in of equivalent qualifications, this city's in trouble. Well, Jackson, this city's in trouble. And the fire department is in trouble. And then we told you, unfortunately, with Chief Owens right on this platform and on our other platforms, Chief Owens said the best thing that you can do at this point is start to make sure you can do as many things as you can to protect yourself, because he gave you all of the reasons that the fire department wasn't the safest option for us right now. And for that to come from a former fire chief, and to the gentleman and to the young lady I was speaking to from DC, this is what we're talking about. I know they're going to hop on today. This is what we're referencing when we say there are things that are happening within the framework of a Democrat Party that are still hurting those that you would consider Democrats.
Right.
And this is very, throughout the theme of this show, those that are listening from afar, please understand that's the problem of plantation Democrats. And those are, let's give you the definition because that's not an insult. And those are Democrats specifically hurting or hurtful, or especially damaging when African-American, their policies, their collaborations, their friendships, and their everyday movements collaborate with the far right. And that's what you're seeing come from this administration right now.
Like a passive hurtness, like it's a soft way to harm us.
No, it's not soft. Yeah, I mean, you know what? You can't even. Yes, I know what you're trying to get to, but at this point, it's a way of doing what. It's almost like this, and this is what's happening in Jackson, Mississippi. Provable. What Cindy Hyde-Smith, Trey Lamar, with Shonda Yates, what folks that most of Jackson, Black Jackson, politicians and all, and most of Black America, since you all are now part of this conversation, most of Black America folks here politically that most of Black America has assumed are doing things to hurt us. Cindy Hyde-Smith tried to turn back these voting rights far before the redistricting, right? These are people, all of Black American Democrats specifically, continuously campaign on, we've got these racist Republican politicians. These are the ones that John Horhn and the current administration are making business deals with on behalf of the city. And that's what I think the folks from DC weren't really aware of when they said, well, what do you mean? And I think they thought more of an internal debate between, well, I want him to hire me as a Black man, like Socrates does business. It's a debate between whether you hire Socrates or whether you hire Tariq. Right? 2 Black businessmen. No, sir, I had to explain to them. No, he's bringing in Republicans. And we talked about William Herring. Folks were, you talking about the son of the woman that drove the abortion in the South? I said, that's what I'm talking about. We're talking about, when I started talking about, this is after Black Lives Matter, Surinder Singh. When I gave that story to a whole audience, you're telling me that a Black man brought him on their staff? You're talking about after George Floyd? These are the questions that are starting to be fired. And thank God the entire United States is waking up, not just to a water crisis here in Jackson, Mississippi, but to a plantation Democrat crisis. And then once folks see it, just takes slow time for them to catch on and continue to move.
So, as Malcolm X said, I'd rather see the wolf with the teeth.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And that's what's hurting our people here. Yeah. And this is coming from our people. And then the beautiful thing is those from out of state, when you look at that, you look at our following, and you look at our supporters, you can see where we're getting it from. That's the beauty. Doesn't take far. And the young man's got some things of his own in his arsenal he wants to talk about from growing up. But when you look at our base, our supporters, who we talk to, who we're going, you can see where the information is coming from. We've passed the point of question. Oh, who's the messenger? At this point, folks are saying, well, listen, John Horhn in 1996, and this is our Promise DC we talk about. In 96, he signed the Business Improvement District. A lot of younger politicians weren't aware of that. Let me put it like that. They were aware of the business improvement districts. They were aware of how harmful they are to places, especially here in downtown Jackson. But they weren't aware that a Democrat had actually co-authored that, especially not a Democrat when I made folks aware that Charles Tisdale and Sister Hurricane, a.k.a. Stephanie Parker Weaver, had not only fought against, but had sued. And they were especially unhappy when I told them, well, Arthur Kane comes up there a little bit. Well, yeah, I said, he knew you could have asked him. And this is just real information. When you come on our platform, you don't hear us lying about people. You don't hear us talking about people's personal affairs, their romantic affairs, their financial affairs. First off, I'm the last one to throw stones. I've struggled my entire life, and that's not what I'm about to do. But even if we were people like that, that's not what this platform's for. Because the moment we inundate it with that garbage, then you can't trust the information we're giving you, because you may not like the way you're hearing it. You may not like how we're giving it, but you come after a year of us doing this to trust that the information we're giving you is vetted and verified. So, as we move into this conversation deep and talking about where we are now and our bigger concerns, you've got to understand when you're looking at Jackson, Mississippi, you don't have a problem with a group of people in Jackson, Mississippi, citizens that don't want to get right. You don't have a problem with a brain drain because white supremacy is crushing that hard, because that would be to indicate that folks in Jackson, Mississippi, or in Mississippi period, are stupid and haven't learned. And that's the farthest thing from the truth. Sometimes you got to put this in people's face so they can understand. You think that there's nowhere in the United States that Black people are more apt, armed, and ready to fight against white supremacy than in Mississippi. There's nowhere where they have the knowledge. There's nowhere where they have the experience. There's nowhere where they have the know-how or acumen to fight. I'm talking about organized against white supremacy than in Mississippi. So why are we hurting? Why aren't we getting forward when it seems like voting? Now we got 65, we got voting rights, right? Yeah, it was only 7% of Blacks being allowed to vote here for a good 10, 15 years. If you look at we got voting for 30, 40 years. Why isn't that working? Now you have politicians that go through the United States touting white supremacy, but they won't talk to you about plantation Democrats. These are the...
Why would they?
Well, why would they? Why would they? A little beeps happening. You got to watch out. Remember 90.1 online. So why would they, right? So you got no one telling you what a plantation Democrat is. So you got to look at Mayor Horn's whole cabinet. That's plantation democracy. You have Gabriel Prado. You have William Herring. You have Surinder Singh. A few members of the actual local community in there. But when you look at who these folks are, you're realizing these are people that are doing nothing to help the Black community. In fact, they're doing everything to hurt the Black community factually. And this is where, when folks say, well, how does this happen to you all? I mean, we air everything, right? In every platform and everywhere you go, there's resistance to what you're saying. And the only way you can keep yourself safe when you're giving this information is if you see, sometimes the mainstream Western, the powers that be, will tell you how to stay safe. Yeah. You ever heard that statement? If you see something, say something. Remember after 9/11? If there's a bag anywhere, if they were telling you how to stay safe, that's how you stay safe. As a community, that's how you don't get pushed to the side and buried underwater. If you see something, say something. From here to Greenville to Tallahatchie to the Delta, what's happening is when you don't say something, you get buried underneath quickly. Is somebody shysting and hustling and taking what's supposed to come to you. And before you can figure out what happened, it's gone. And they're gone. And you're sitting there trying to figure out why we can't get right. But when you saw that, it looked shady. That person rushed you to sign something that said you got something you didn't get. Put you into some houses where only 1% of black people in the city, like Midtown. Throw you in some houses over there and say, shh, don't say nothing to nobody else. This is a great situation here. Every city you go to, you see this housing where they give a certain amount of black folks housing. And remember Midtown, over near them train tracks. You watch it in 20 years, our children, and that better not be condominiums with swimming pools and high rises. And we tried, but the black people just didn't want to do right. The writing on the wall from Houston, from Atlanta, from New York, from Baltimore. Stop taking people as unintelligent people that don't research what came before us. The gentrification efforts are not just clear here, they're expedited. So this is a state of emergency week that we've been giving you, and there's nothing relying on. So I'm inviting so many people in to jump on the broadcast. This state of emergency is based off of facts. So with CCID, you jumped in United States. HB 1020. Throughout the United States, folks said this is them going to segregation. They're trying to create another police force within that police force. How quickly we forget. As you see our black leadership praising collaborations with this police force that many politicians and leaders throughout the U.S. called one of the most racist attempts in the history of Mississippi since Reconstruction to bring us backwards, because it replaced elected official judges that the people elected. It just simply put their own in there. It took a police force of the city and it overfunded a different police force. It created a police force within a city. And now we're watching it happen in real time with our fire department. So what do you do first? Run it down and say they can't control it. Mayor Horn appoints a captain as police chief. Previous fire chief Willie Owens says to him, comes on the show and says it to you all, Mayor Horn, if you don't put at least the assistant chief in there, we're in trouble. Mayor Horn doesn't listen to him. So he comes on our platform multiple times. The same former chief that you trusted to keep you safe, the same former chief for 40 years, this experienced chief, still lucid, and then you all see him all through town. He then came on and then started giving us specific reasons.
As long as Horn been a senator.
That's right, as long as Horn's been a senator.
Longer,
right? And done a lot less damage. And again, if you just jumped on and you're saying what that damage is, I'll talk to you in political speak. You decide whether it's damage or not. Look up the business improvement district legislation that passed in Mississippi, specifically Jackson in 1996, and pull up the co-author. And then pull up Black resistance to that plan in Jackson during that time. Pull up John Horn tries to get Farris Street included in business improvement district, and pull up Black leadership pushes back. We don't trust it, John.
At all.
We didn't have the benefit of our ancestors' voices being accessible to us, or at least not free. For $21.95, you could have fully accessed your ancestors' voices, young people of Jackson. You would have known about Stephanie Parker Weaver, since Otha didn't want to tell you about her. And I hold you people 100% accountable. And it's not just from the athlete, all of the older crowd. I call out people that want to be public like we want to be public. We take the shots in the chest and we give them right out, holding each other accountable. But for all the older people from 48 up, listen, I see you all clapping and applauding young people for getting together right now when different things are happening, as they even get angry about the young man that was murdered and the verdict in there. They're coming together instead of doing anything negative. And I see you applauding him and saying, look at our young people, but look at our older people. Y'all are disgusting while they're standing up. I see the old people got the nerve. I'm talking about 48, 58, 68, still active. Clap. Look at these young people coming together, and look at you, as cowardly as you are. Look at you standing by while your same peers wreck everything. Every time a young person stands up and says, man, we need to stop this violence, I'm tired of them shooting, I say, man, if only adults had your courage.
Would you want to know some so sorry about that story? You talking about sorry that happened in South Carolina? Are you referring to that story?
Is that South Carolina? Sometimes things blur you so angrily, you never stop to ask where it was. But it may be. I'm talking about the Asian gentleman.
Yeah.
And I say that lightly. Yeah, child that murdered the young boy. South Carolina.
South Carolina. So
which brings back. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, you go ahead.
Well, you know, the jury for Child and the case with Cyrus, it was I think it was 5 white, 5 black. Not to say that it's by any, but when you have a biased jury, it always go into avoid die, stuff like that. But you would think that some people on the jury would have been like, oh, I'm against it, but every single person on the jury said that he was guilty. I mean, he was not guilty.
Yeah, and what you have is
older people.
Yeah, and you wonder why. Let me just say one thing. This is just what I'll say about that. This is what I'll say about that to the black folk on that jury and to the black folk everywhere. And I'm gonna say one thing. We'll move past that. And I mean, young man may have more to say about it. What you just wonder how when is the jury system introduced in Mississippi? Let's just say 1930, if that. I may be wrong. You all are not a historian. I got to text my son, Mr. Tulu. But let's just say 1930. It's 2026. So that's 70, 100 years. How is it that white people were able for 70 years to find a way to vote every white person in Mississippi that ever, the first time they ever convicted a white man of killing a black man in Mississippi?
No.
Yeah, it's crazy. So let's just say, you all can look that up. I'm not going to take that time. We know what it is. So how did white people manage to collectively as a community lie for that long? And you can't see the truth and that boy was murdered. You can't find the truth there, huh? That's amazing to me. I'll say it one more time. It's a fact that in Mississippi, in Carolina, in the deep South, it was like maybe the 70s, the first time a white man was ever found guilty. That was known as what? You cannot ever penalize a white man for killing a black man. That will change the whole. So you look at it, you're talking about 60 years of the judicial system being around, potentially longer. And the white community collectively found a way to lie, because these black men were just being murdered. We know that.
Yeah.
To just find a way to look the other way. And those black 5 jurors, that's just astounding to me. That's astounding that those 5 jurors couldn't find one thing in that law that supported a guilty verdict. Maybe there was nothing there. I wasn't there. No, I rarely say that. Maybe there was nothing there. Maybe it was that absolute, though the video camera shows us something different and we've seen everything. So if a video camera doesn't show the young man pointing a gun at you, then you're not seeing anything we didn't. You're just hearing things. So that means you took someone's word, which means it's Chow or his attorney, the black attorney. So you took someone's word, pushed you over what we couldn't see. So in 2026, after the Goon Squad, after you watching police lie under oath, Tyree Nichols, over and over again, you're just watching them lie out their mouth. What's going on with our older generation? Let's pause everything. Because maybe we're not safe because of the wolf. Maybe we're safe because our older generation got glasses that show them people instead of wolves. Now, Houston, we got a problem. Uncle, come sit down. That's the loving way. Come sit yourself back here in the back seat and stay away from the dang door when we at war. Not literally at war. Got to watch out for folks that like to blow that Carolyn whistle, that Emmett Till whistle. It's unfortunate. I'm next to this young black man, so I got to be careful to not say at war, even though you all know Winston Churchill style. I'm a person that loves literature. I love speaking, so I love wordplay. So I've got to be careful because we have black people in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm glad DC and other places on. Big up New Jersey. I saw you when you said listening from New Jersey. I don't remember the city, but you have black people here doing the same thing the white woman that got Emmett Till killed are doing. The same thing. Going into a newspaper, targeting the white audience of Mississippi, the ones that press charges against people, and saying, we think these black people are being violent because they're saying that they don't want a data center and that we should use our vote to fight back and not use violence. We think that's violent. You've got black newscasters. We've got to say it. Ross Adams from WAPT, because in DC and in New Jersey and these other places, they think we progress because we have black people in certain situations. I'm here to shatter that. Throw it down, and I'm talking about Randy the Macho Man Savage that. No, sir, we got a plantation Democrat in office as a mayor. We've got I can't even call her a plantation Democrat because a plantation Democrat, I think, still wouldn't blow a dog whistle. I haven't heard that from Horn yet. I've never heard Horn give a silent dog whistle for white supremacists to come do something to them. Come do something to these black men. They try to use their democratic rights. And we don't need that in Mississippi. That's coming from a black person. That's our council. So this is what you're having happen in Mississippi. And you think we're just getting beat under the weather of white supremacy. Well, the thing is that load hasn't changed. It's just gotten greater because the people that are supposed to be protecting us are opening the door and letting it flood down on us. 2 young black men, one much younger, shout out to one much younger, right? One could be an uncle, maybe a father if I was irresponsible, right? Trying to make myself, but 2 young black men that have done nothing but continuously lose, which we rarely talk about, continuously lose opportunities to bring the truth in a way that doesn't take anything into consideration except God's truth. God's truth. Tell the truth and shame the devil. But guess what's been happening? We've been getting shamed. tell the truth and get shamed. That's what's happening. And that shame has come from within our own community and not from you, the audience. Because you've been nothing but, if it weren't for you, our voice would have been shut up a long time ago. You made it very clear. You know, we were testing out Thursdays on 90.1, right? And this wasn't one of the days we were testing it out. I don't take more days than I pay for it. We had a certain amount of time to test it. We'll see whether we go there. But you all reached out immediately and was like, what's going on? We didn't even announce it online or anything. It was 2 days. You're showing our value. Like, what's happening? Now, that makes us rethink everything. It makes us rethink our treatment, and it makes us rethink securing avenues to get to you. Because when you tell this much truth, it's just a matter of time for they don't want you to tell it at all. And this story right here with the young man and I is a story, United States, of how many Black people will crumble before we're able to push forward with what we're trying to do. And that's the stress you see. First, you see us smiling. Then you see us getting pushed. But the difference with us is we yelled at Bo Brown telling us to be quiet. He's a senator. He didn't like it. We said it. That's what keeps you. If you see something, 90.1 ain't, they calling us the Lumumba show. We still there. We love him. The same way if my sister's doing something, I'll tell it to me. Prado's coming to Black businessmen trying to pressure them to shut us up. Every single thing that happens on my mother's life and she's gone, we'll bring to you until we go to the upper room. Until I go. Let the young man stay a little longer. And I've got a beautiful daughter. I've got 6 beautiful I want to see tomorrow, but I can give them something better than that. Had a child I had to remove from Piney Woods. I've talked to you all about that. Great relationship that went sour because the headmaster wants to take them to the Dixie Parade. Next thing you know, Governor Tate's rumored to be visiting him here at Piney Woods.
And I haven't went through half of the stuff that you went through.
But it's a pleasure. Medgar Evers lost his life 10 steps away from hugging his wife. Do you understand that? I've got a wife and I've got you. 10, he could see it as he was dying. You've lost your damn mind if you think you'll ever pressure me to be quiet and not stand on this truth. I saw my wife last night, got to kiss her. Then I'm gonna fight again today because Medgar can't, because Fanny's not here, because Dr. King didn't get to keep going, because Malcolm didn't get that second attempt. You cowards. You get to kiss your wife every night and eat good while you're doing it. I'm talking about Black leaders here. You're a coward. And it sickens me that you continue to do this to your people and get no hurt for it at all because people are so scared to speak up because they're so used to you being able to go to that man and say, look what he's doing now. If I can't get you right, what did Lashia Brown Thomas say? If I can't stop you Black men from using your democratic rights, your vote, and rallying your community around a vote nonviolently, if I can't stop you, I'll call the white man too. And next thing you know in the paper, Brian Grizzell went right along with it, a man that blew the first whistle and said, we see what y'all doing, community, come look. We looked and used only our legal means. We said never use violence. We said only use your vote. Live as we talked about the violence happening around the U.S. And Lashia Brown Thomas decided, along with Brian Grizzell, this is a chance for us to stop this resistance to data centers altogether. And all we wanted was a moratorium. That's what the United States needs to understand. We didn't ask to stop anything. We asked to look at the harm against Black folk here in Jackson. And all of a sudden, there was a problem. Everything gets fast-tracked. Robert Island got welcomed into the city by Mayor John Horn on Mayor John Horn's temporary housing task team. He was supposed to be here to help Blossom Apartments residents and make sure it didn't happen again. He got them an extension of 5 days, nothing else, and he said he recused himself from even helping them, but popped up later with Sexum to put a datum center at Forest Avenue. Make it make sense, Jackson. We don't mind you looking for business opportunities, but you were here to help the residents of Jackson, Mr. Ireland. Blossom residence apartments, we helped them. I mean, along with as part of efforts, Mississippi Rapid Response Coalition efforts. We were able to walk on the Blossom apartments and bring food, and we saw people that had 4 days to find a new place to stay.
And to hear the residents at Blossom Apartments tell us that we've helped them more than anybody in the city, you got to understand that is amazing.
But you got Jennifer Welch, you got Robert Island, you got all these people that know law, housing law, apartment law excellently. And they didn't get them. No. Jennifer Welch and Robert Island didn't get those folks more, weren't able to come up with an idea to get them folks anything more than 5 days. You better call someone, sister, brother.
Stupid.
You better call Stupot. You better call the homeless resources. This is what our people were given after he brought this team together. Now, Robert Island pops up later with Sexum going to put a data center at Forest Avenue after Lashia Brown Thomas votes, put places in ordinance. Let's not place it all on her. She votes to remove the moratorium, and Vernon Harley, he's right there and backs him up. Any of you all watching that interview and wondered why we were interviewing Vernon Hartley? Some of you wheatback brothers jumped on there and put your face and name on there, telling him you were interviewing so aggressively. First off, as Ross Adams said, we're not journalists. Second off, when you won't answer people's calls. So to the brother that said that, you almost said, do you know that his whole ward is saying, I can't get through. He won't answer my calls. I can't bring this data center. And do you know that next night he was over at the, what was that factory? The bread?
The Bean Path.
The Bean Path, telling business investors that he was totally against a moratorium on data centers. Ward 5, you better stand up or get sat down, because your wardsman is running, your councilman is running around telling investors that he is against the moratorium, and every single one of you we talked to said you want a moratorium.
No, you don't piggyback off what you said when he's not answering his phone. You remember when we investigated that, when you go to the city council website and you click Vernon's, either one of the city council members, you click their email and it goes to Ashby Foot.
It was going to Ashby Foot. That was given to us. Let me give him a kudos to on YouTube to one of our viewers, and you saw it at the same time. But one of our viewers on YouTube said, "Hey, Hezzy, we are on YouTube and Instagram too, you all, and make sure you get on everything. Not because we're super fabulous. We may take a little while to catch up on those other channels, but if you're not there, when someone decides that there's too much money that we're talking about for us to continue talking on there, then you better be there." But they said, listen, every time we send it to any council person, whether it's Hartley, whether it's Lashia, whether it's Griselle, whether it's Stokes, they're all going to Ashby Foot because it pulls up an email and they send us a screenshot. We then tried it. It did the same thing with us.
Yeah, we screen recorded.
We screen recorded as well, each step, so folks could see what's happening. And these are the things that are talking about where we're saying our city is under attack from a lot of different fronts. I always looked at that. Why would they put out a notice warning about the drinking water? Yeah, we just received see if you can look up a notice about dangerous drinking water. Oh, they're talking about Louisiana. No, they're absolutely correct. We'll look at that. But yeah, so these different fronts are what, and again, with respect to those that are listening that just haven't been aware about that, it's very important to understand that. So when you go back to the other cities and states, and well, you can always wait for folks here to jump in. Look into the chats and follow the people in Mississippi. This is what I love. The peers will get each other right, just not in politics. Because the peers will get folks that used to jump in those chats and say stuff like, no, the problem is these kids, and it's always about these kids, and these children are a symptom of it. You've got 70-year-old black men saying the problem are the children. Can you imagine if you had a restaurant and you're the manager and your investors come and you say the problem are the workers? Nah, you as a leader is the problem. I can assure you of that, is the first thing they'll say when you point your fingers. And you don't instead tell them the steps you've taken to make it better. No, the problem is you. So the setups are what we're dealing with, right? And that's what we started on. The setups are what we're dealing with. We now have 3 potential AI centers coming the way folks talk. In our nearby area, you're talking about 10 minutes from Tougaloo or 10 miles from Tougaloo. You're talking about they're planning one of the biggest ones globally, supposedly. That's rumored to be the biggest one globally. You've got Prado bringing in a data center, wanting to bring one in, and not saying I don't want to say where. That's the most recent one. And this is Mayor John Horn's transition team. So DC, let me keep it on our new family today, right? Because you may not understand. So Mayor John Horn, who is a Democrat, bought on Gabriel Prado onto his transition team. Now, if you look at everyone that he did business with, and everyone that he worked for, he comes from working with the city of Richland and working for the government of Mississippi. They're all Republicans. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is what a plantation Democrat does. Bought him on and then gave him over $1 million in tax credits to build apartments that we can't afford. Nothing but the big time business people here can afford it. He then bought on this Surinder Singh as an Indian business owner. Then we started seeing all of the stores that were traditionally owned by Indians here in Jackson, Mississippi, being sold over and transitioned as Don Gabriel. They were being listed and coded as supermarkets, but they didn't have one grocery in it. There has to be, for it to be coded as a supermarket, it has to have fresh fruit, it has to have produce, it has to have deli. In 16 stations we've all gone through as a city with Meta glasses, we've seen none of that. Yet your mayor and your code and enforcement has said nothing, and we've told the whole city. We've seen people tag every part of the city code, ethics violation, everything in it. So DC, when you ask, why are these people not doing or not seeing progress, we're going to continue showing on the other side of this break where that fault is coming from. And you'll be surprised to find out it's not the efforts of the people here in Jackson, Mississippi. We'll be right back.
All righty, let's go.
He just gets smooth and smooth every time. This don't make no sense.
Hey, welcome to the behind the scenes room of the We Believe Digital podcast, where all the podcast and engineering happens when we make all the magic happen. I am your engineer, head engineer, JB. How you doing? Hope all is well. Currently right now at the We Believe Digital Network, we have a deal going on for $99 an hour studio sessions. So don't miss out on this opportunity. Let us know if you want it. And reach out to your team and we'll build your dream. Have a good one. Oh, come on in. Hey, welcome to the behind the scenes of the We Believe Digital radio station, where everything We Believe Digital radio takes place. I am currently mixing and mastering a playlist for the radio station. Speaking of that, if you have any suggestions or even your own songs or podcasts or talk shows that you might want to be featured right here on the radio station, you can email us at webelieveplatforms@gmail.com. Catch y'all next time. Hey, feel like your voice needs to be heard? Ever wanted to be on your own podcast or even be a part of one? Guess what? You now can right here at the We Believe Digital Network, but we'll make it happen. You can catch us at this email, at this location, and this phone number.
Yeah, you see that look? Yes, sir. Welcome back to the second side of the fastest growing, if not the fastest grown show here in Mississippi, Make It Make Sense Jackson. I'm sitting here next to my esteemed colleague, the young man, aka KP, aka Mr. Jackson Keandon Perry Jr., and probably the only man that can say my name for me.
Tariq Abdul-Tawwab.
Let's go. That's why we click. Y'all don't understand where it comes from, man. You know, energy cannot be created. But no, we're going to go into we're going to look at some local news. Just a very quick recap. And I know we seem to be in a lot of places for those that have just jumped on. But the title of the show is A State of Emergency in Jackson, Mississippi. And we're being attacked from every single area. So we're going to start looking at some articles so those outside of Jackson can now, especially since you've heard it, and those inside of Jackson, but especially we're going to put these up so you all can start seeing it's real. Because what some people are saying to us, there's no way your mayor and your city council are doing certain things. And this is one of them. Especially when we look at the ordinance, and when you start talking about asking them to work as young as 14, when we told people outside of here that our own city put up an ordinance asking companies to hire our school-age children. Now, generally in every city, either you have a program for their cities, like the previous mayor and mayor before them did, summer jobs, and then you let them focus on school during the year. We've never heard of folks asking companies to hire our babies. They should be going to school and going to programs and doing athletics and doing play and getting tutored, right? Those are the things we should be begging for. So if we were going to ask for anything as Black leadership, we would ask for help, right? Not ask for you to put them to work. Not at 14, not at 15. That's giving up on them at that point. I don't care what you say. I'm the son of an educator and a Golden Apple Award winning educator. They fought through staying in the inner city schools, right? Not going out and being a superstar somewhere else. With our children, a Golden Apple Award winner. That's hard. They don't want to recognize you when you're teaching Black children, period. So when we're looking at some of these things that are happening, we'll touch on each of them. These are the things that we're talking about. So when you look at something like this, and we're going to pause for a moment and have a little bit of conversation about this. Now at that bottom, you see, let's take those other two off, not to overwhelm folks, because they're going to start saying, oh my God, Jackson, fire's up. Put one up. Yeah, just throw me one up at a time, because that's beautiful. That's how I speak. But I'm learning to slow down for you all so I can make sure everybody gets it. There's nothing that a messenger or communicator has done if you haven't received it, right? This one, a beautiful one. No, that's perfect right there. So let's get into this one. I was going to start on the other one. This is just a lot bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Read Jackson. This one to us. No, sir. No, sir. Sometimes I said this young man that does the internet, sometimes you know better than me what we need to touch on. And this one right here, KP is going to read you all this title, but this is much more important.
Yeah, the Jackson Mayor calls for action after a panic over hydrant shows fire and fire response in Eastover. So basically, there was a fire that happened in Eastover. What's that like? I forgot road that on.
Well, Eastover is again, and no, I'm glad you said that. Eastover is one of, if not the richest community in Mississippi. It's known for a lot of old money. Some say even dates back to plantation times, sharecropping and money that made from that. Cotton definitely, and even enslavement, and that's what the community talks about. But go ahead.
Yeah, so there was a fire outbreak in the Eastover at somebody's house. So basically what happened was that they got call responded that there was a fire. And by the time that the fire department made it to the house, they was trying to get the cap off the fire hydrant. And by how the way the fire hydrant was painted, the paint was stuck on the cap and they couldn't get it off in time. And they go and Jackson Water. They go around painting the fire hydrants white, the ones that don't work. So that would be one that.
Well, they're supposed to give us a count of how many that don't work, but in actuality, the fire department, or in some situations when you have a huge resource and the citizens love it together, or the citizens, but the fire department here is supposed to go around initially, check which ones are working and aren't working, from what I understand, and then paint them one color or the other color. Jackson Water was responsible when they took over with identifying how many, going back again and identifying how many were too. So you had two groups that really were holding that responsibility, which were the Jackson Water was supposed to give us a count of working and non-working, and the fire department should have, at some point, as they used to, have a count of what ones were working and what ones weren't working.
So my confusion is that why is that one painted white if it works?
That could have been the color that I don't know which color was supposed to be painted. That could be the proper color for working. I don't think that was the issue. The issue they had there was that it was painted shut.
Yeah, that was the issue. But now that
that's a new issue in my brain. No, absolutely, we'll find out. And Chief Owens is going to be on with us again next week, so we'll find out. Parking lot that.
Yep. They was basically having an uproar about a tool that they needed to open up the fire hydrant, and the fire department didn't have it, and they had to call Jackson Water to get the tool. Then in the city council, when they brought it to the council, they was like, well, why don't they just get one of the fire workers was like, why don't y'all just give us the tool instead of us having to call Jackson Water? But the simple response and the take on it, we feel like, it's like you said, they're trying to implement that the fire department don't know what they're doing, so they can make a second fire department.
You're in trouble. So this is and this is where you start having a problem with that right up there. You start having a problem when your young folks here in Jackson, under 30 especially, right, over 20 especially, start to understand what's happening. Right? So you heard a young man say, it feels like you're trying to implicate, make it look like the fire department can't handle itself here in Jackson, Mississippi. Why would you want to do that? Well, we know now, thankfully, after CCID, now we don't have to wonder what would be the purpose of trying to make the fire department look incompetent. What would be the reason for that? Well, with CCID, we watched them consistently say that Jackson Police Department couldn't handle it. You know what you do? You drop off mental ill people that are dealing with mental illness. People were caught by Mayor Lumumba, the previous mayor, on video under his tenure, dropping people off from hospitals, mental patients, making sure that as many folks came into the city. And don't forget the Madison, Ridgeland, the rest of the suburb of Mississippi that likes to play drug land in Jackson. Let's not talk about how many times we see a white person sitting by the side of the road under the bridge looking for a family member. Can I help? Our teams, the people of Mississippi Rapid Response, Strong Arms, those people are going to help. So I never sit and go, oh, you're a family member. But I help, but I'm also going to bring it up and say something's wrong here. Everybody understands Jackson's a place you can go and get high. Who's telling them that? Why are you trying to run that value down? Virginia College, places under full leases, just pulling out. I don't want to be here anymore. Somebody wants Jackson to get run down. And that's what's now happening in real time with our fire department. But you get to see it now. So now before that call comes, what did the audience member say? Next thing you know, the legislation, probably Trey Lamar and Sean, that we need a Jackson Metro Fire Department to make sure we're all okay, because Jackson Fire Department just can't do it. They just can't keep the important residents of Jackson. Fondren, North Jackson, Belhaven, all of the business improvement districts that I've helped. Don't forget, Shonda Yates helped bring 100,000 to LaFleur East. Come on now. Y'all got to stay with the jig. Don't just jump onto our page when something's happening. Go back and check out how we got here, and then you're going to understand the little shuffle. You ain't going to keep getting danced all over. These folks will start being repetitive. So, Shonda, you helped East LaFleur get all that money. Then I'm sure you all helped sway our current administration to get even more money to East LaFleur. And now, all of a sudden, these are the only people getting any love. And then, all of a sudden, after all of that, let's go back through it slowly. Tony Yarber, the former mayor's mother's house burns for an unnaturally long time, given the fire department's near her. This level doesn't happen. I love this being right up on screen. Funch's house, built in Tougaloo by them, starts burning. Unreasonably long time, same reports. Fire hydrants not near there with water. You don't see nothing like this. The Tougaloo Community Plantation Democrat. That's all you can say that Mayor Horn and that city council are acting like now, except maybe one. So you got to understand why that should make you want to. That should make you want to vote against something, or it should make you want to pull your business back, or send an email, or show up in public everywhere legally possible and speak to these people and say, stop hurting us. Don't just wait and shoot a little email. Walk up and speak to the people. They can't Emmett Till you now because we're all here together. Thank God you're there. And so many of you saw that. Or we might have been in trouble. Can you think about that? We will. I'm no Superman. I'm as strong as my community. Imagine had you all not been there. Imagine had we not been wise enough to shoot our own video of an interview with Ross Adams from WAPT ourselves, where we were actually saying, I have never advocated for violence against any member of Jackson City Council or anyone else for that matter. And then unequivocally walk down what I did say, that we use our vote, not violence. Oh, wow, that's what you said? Yes. And WAPT or Ross decided not to show it. We've got to put it that way because we don't want to throw anyone under the bus. We don't know if WAPT got it. We don't know if Ross gave it to them and they said no. So we'll just put the company as there together. He works for WAPT. They opted to run the report. Violence was implicated, but not run my response. And WLBT and the other stations but just directly lied and said we reached out to Abdul Tawwab and he didn't answer. Reached out where? Did y'all go online and just look for anyone with the name of Abdul Tawwab and then send it to them in Pakistan? That's funny what y'all do. Y'all didn't reach out to me because Ross got through, just decided not to air it, but he got through to me. At least he didn't lie. He just yelled at us and said we weren't journalists, but he didn't lie on us. WLPT, that's dirtier. Real talk. No, it's not dirty. Both are dirty. But for all these stations to do that, it lets folks know there's no representation. So let's go back to Eastover. And folks from outside of here, look at that Eastover neighborhood and look at what it is. And what I mean by that is it was created 48, 49. I'm not that bright, KP. I'm over here looking at it. But it was created 48, 49 by Leland and Catherine. Oh, no. In 48, Leland and Catherine Speed. And then, whatchamacallit, buddy? Otha's buddy. Leland and Catherine Speed decided to build a home. I'm joking when I say Otha's buddy. I don't say that lightly. We say that because Otha Kane was an interviewer back when a lot of us didn't know that Leland Speed and Downtown Jackson partners were setting their traps in Jackson. And we just call on everybody. Like you should call on us to tell you everything we know, right? That's the point of that statement. I'm going to clarify everything from now on. In 48, Leland and Catherine Speed decided to build a home on what was then largely undeveloped land east of Ridgewood Road. Jackson architect Frank Fort designed both the Speed home and the original neighborhood plan.
About 200 hydrants.
Okay, we're almost done there. And then we're going to go into Speed envisioned only a single road through the property, but Fort convinced him to study the prestigious River Oaks development in Houston. The Eastover covenants and design standards were heavily influenced by River Oak. Construction began in 49 on Eastover Drive, the first lake in the Speed family home. Do you see why I put so much emphasis on interviews with Leland Speed? Do you know how powerful the Eastover neighborhood is? Do you know how much perspective you would have understanding who created that neighborhood and where that power is coming from? And then understanding Leland's connection with Downtown Jackson partners? Then you'll understand Eastover sits right where Flo would start. It's a connection into Jackson, right? You start to get a point of two cities, one Jackson, right? So construction began in 49. Lot sales started strong but slowed dramatically when the Korean War began in 50. What was happening around 49 and 50, people? Desegregation talks. I'm going to tell you. It's okay. We don't have to waste time. Go look at when. So you see desegregation started flowing through in the 60s, right? When you think the talk started, that's a lot to desegregate the South, where it was our way of life.
White flight.
Yeah, that was before even white flight.
Oh.
49, 50, you're seeing the plan. Leland had a good plan. And Leland, what made you say, I want to make something that's so drastically different than anything we have here? That's starting to understand better the roots of Jackson, Mississippi. And when you understand the roots of your city, then you'll understand this was a very, very elite neighborhood that was built specifically for that eliteness, right? So in this elite neighborhood, to KP's point, a fire breaks out here after the whole city been burning. And I wish I had time to just jump around. We don't. But you would see how many fires have happened in Jackson since.
That was another fire that just happened.
Another fire just happened. It wasn't a medical mart or something burning just a few minutes ago?
Something like that. I didn't get the full name of it.
There's a fire at Jackson Square Promenade contained by firefighters 7 hours ago. You see the whole top of the building on fire. Fire erupts twice at Jackson home as questions grow 6 days ago. Standoff underway that has nothing to do with us at Simpson County. So you just see report after report after report. Jackson, Miss man killed in overnight house fire 1 month ago. That's still the same story there. I don't want to pile up. Man loses house in suspected arson fire, Jackson, Mississippi. Fire crews battle Jackson house fire, 2026 of April 7th. Jackson apartment fire displaced 8 families, March 30th. Brothers, sisters, this is months within each other. I'm from April to March on everything I'm reading. Jackson apartment fire displaces 8 families, March 30th of 2026. The fire spread quickly, destroying the wood frame. You're talking Jackson Battlefield Park neighborhood, March 27th. Mississippi City of Jackson wind-driven fire. That's when a fire truck burned. This is March 28th, 2026. Previous fire chief Willie Owens sat in front of you and said, Mayor Horn called me. He asked my opinion on who should be the fire chief. Now, why the former chief would have thought to tell him this next thing makes you wonder. He said, I told him verbatim, you should put the assistant chief in that position. If you put anyone else there, what did he say?
This what happened.
Jackson's in trouble. This is what previous fire chief Willie Owens. This is a setup and you have a chance to still stop it. And this is what the young man said when he said, it looks like you're trying to make it look like the fire department can't take care of itself. So the Republican legislation can go ahead and vote some more money in, create the Jackson Fire Metro. And if you don't want to fold to us, JFD, we'll just increase your insurance rating. Your insurance price every year till you do, or get broke trying. Either get down or lay down. That's the way of the Republican legislator here. Real talk. That's what you're going to talk about. And that came from political geniuses that told me that. Tarek, this is what's going to happen. And I'm not that smart. This is what's going to happen. The ISO rating has dropped. And let's ask another question that the chief is going to come on next time to talk. Because we need to talk about the setup that's happening. Y'all didn't want to listen when Lumumba was in office and everybody was saying, no, lying Lumumba, you a dope fiend in the middle of court. Vernon Hartley couldn't get along with him. Ali Shamsuddin talked about every decision he made. And you all didn't understand the full picture. I'm not saying you're on anyone's side, but if you're a black person from our community, the story just looked different when you find out that Antar removed Shamsuddin from his position as a judge and picked someone else. The story just sounded a little different when you find out Antar removed Hartley from the airport commissioner, right? Don't that story seem a little different? Where Hartley was taking trips and able to fly everywhere and shake hands. You make it make sense how you want to see it. But if you tell me KP stole, out of nowhere, you just came at KP stole. Stokes and them were just sticking their tongues out for no reason. We're like, why they can't get along with the mayor? If out of nowhere I tell you he stole, then you find out KP smacked me 2 days ago. Well, you may take that a little differently. I may be mad he smacked me. So let's just be transparent. So when Shamsuddin came on and talked about the former mayor, you should have said, just to be transparent, the mayor is the one that appoints my judge position. He chose not to reappoint me, so you should know that. Vernon Hartley should have said every time he said, hey, I don't like what the mayor's doing, I ain't got no reason. Just to be fair, the mayor did remove me from the airport commission. I didn't like that too much, so I ran for council. No. You playing with our future. That's the problem. It got nothing to do with the former mayor. You're playing with the people's future. So we followed under the former mayor. We didn't start our show under the new mayor. You forget that. We didn't look at the city under a mayor. We looked at this city and people of the city. So look at ISO, your insurance. So what it says is you have to get it checked at least once every 5 years. And I know our firefighters don't like the online as much. You all love the radio. So we're going to redo this again on Tuesday with the chief. But every 5 years, your insurance rating gets searched. Every year, somehow in the state of Mississippi, they made sure under Lumumba, they came and checked to make sure their stuff was right. I asked Chief Willie, did they check? When you were there every 5 years, man, they came every year. We had an ISO rating of 3 and we almost had it down to 2. That means they were getting better. I said, well, did you find out? He said, man, I checked with he said they have not done an ISO check since Mayor Horn took office. Sips tea. The setup. So the state, so you're telling me you showed up every year when Lumumba was in office and everyone before him probably. But now there's Horn in office, the state's like, I feel comfortable while the fire department's going wild. That's when the state chooses. Folks are supposed to get drunk. The state's like, no, they're not. Kids will be kids. Even the black ones right now. Give us a minute, Madison. We're doing something here. The state could have pounced on Jackson every time there was a fire and no fire hydrant was open. Think about that. That's not an opportunity. Multiple houses burning and you can't get to a fire hydrant with water. What is it about Black lives where the state of Mississippi Republicans can't use Black lives to take over the city? Oh, you just put all those people in Tougaloo at danger. We're taking over your fire department. They stayed mum as long as Black lives burned. As long as it was Black people's houses burning, as long as it was Funch's, as long as it was Yarber's mother's house burning, everything's fine. But hold on a second now. Eastover burning?
You can't have that.
But Eastover doesn't depend on Jackson for nothing. Make it make sense. You hear them chirps? Eastover, you got your own security company. You talk about Jackson all day, right? Not the whole Eastover, but right over there they talk about we can't depend. You telling me with $1 million houses, you didn't have a contingency plan set in place? That's weird. For a city you claim will never help you, that's really weird that you didn't have any backup. You just let it burn, baby, let it burn. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, ladies. You just let it burn, Usher style. We know about the wells back there. We know you don't like Jackson Water. We don't know what's there because you got the gates up. But that's real curious that you ain't call your buddies in Flowood, Trey Lamar. But you can get millions of dollars to pave them, but you ain't call Flowood right up the street. Hell, Eastover's burning. You just let it burn. Let it burn. Oh, you want the people to be able to say we can't trust JFD, huh? You need the right people to say it, and guess what? Eastover's the right people. Now you can take that burner over. My people in Eastover are being left in danger. Yeah, I know the rest of the Negroes were too, and I didn't say nothing about that. It's not about them. It's about the good people of Mississippi. Ross Barnett. I love Mississippi. I love their customs. Trey Lamar is no different.
I hate that speech, man.
I get why you do, and I love pushing it in our leaders' faces because they're sitting there shaking hands with these people. John Horn sits with Kane Ditto, who the late Charles Tisdale sued for stealing from Black people. And John Horn sits with him. He's on his transition team. DC, who do you? Make something happen for us. This ain't Black people dropping the ball here. It ain't the citizens of Jackson dropping the ball here. You get an NAACP gold jacket in Jackson, you go to jail. That makes sense. Detroit, Chicago, anywhere else that would make you untouched. Not in jail. NAACP jacket, you get a gold jacket, right to jail. And it's gonna be your own people to shoot that bullet. When I say shoot that bullet, I mean metaphorically speaking, city council. Y'all got to deal with what you did.
Dog whistle.
Yeah, y'all got to deal with what you did. You dog whistled us. But that's where we're sitting at now as a community. We're screaming for help, not because we need it. The community is working to provide what our leaders don't. You had our leaders, Vernon Hartley was at a program yesterday at the Bean Path, correct me if I'm wrong, along with Zakiya Summers, who at least looked a little shocked and was not in any agreement when Vernon said, and we just talked to what the people see and what we see when we're there. When Vernon said, I am not against the moratorium, Zakiya didn't look like she agreed with him. Wake up, everybody. We don't care when people wake up, when they jump into the fight, just jump in. Just help your people. Come on back. John, you come on back. Who raised you? John, who raised you, Horn? You can come back to the table. You got a lot of explaining to do, Lucy. But we need every Black hand that we can get to stand up because they owe that. Or maybe they're paying back a different ancestor. That's a different story. Got to see these people's lineages. Who raised you? If a young man shoots across the street, arm up, hitting everybody in between, you say, who raised you? Well, John Horn has contributed to the detriment of Jackson in 1996 by co-signing the most hurtful legislation yet to us in terms of recovering economically as a Black city, which is our downtown. He then came into office and finished it off by immediately making a deal on the airport land, and then taking our biggest cash gaining asset with $750 million sitting in it too. So think of a car that gets our most money. That was our water system. And think of you dropped $750 million in the car. That's what was left over from our money. And John went ahead and gave all that over to a water authority and convinced us to do it. America, DC, New Jersey. Convinced us to do it. Just go Google it. John Horn said the water authority is the way to go. Over $200 million in debt will get carried over. That didn't happen. He said, we'll have the majority seats. That didn't happen. He said, we'll have control. That didn't happen. He said, he never said, but then you start hoping at least we'll end up even. That didn't happen. And then what did happen? The one thing he never said might happen. Yeah, we might be ASS out and not have no control. That did happen. And the same thing happens in everywhere else. We get the same calls from community members in what you call Midtown, saying what we see up the street in Midtown ain't what we see happening in our neighborhood. When you dance with the devil, you get left with what you get left with. You roll with dogs, you come up with fleas. You sleep with dogs, you come up with fleas. Old people had the best sayings because you got people in Midtown itching. Where's that good stuff they got down there near all the shops and everything? Right? I don't feel that down here in the black part where Kenny Stokes is trying to change street names and whatnot. We're not feeling that come down here for us the same way it's coming for y'all. Mayor John Horn comes in and cancels a skate park that Mayor Lumumba had set up for the children to come to. It was going to have a skate park. It was going to have a platform for trucks to come up. It was going to have a place for people to perform, have carnivals, bring our own in. He cancels that, and then ironically, we're driving through Midtown, and we see in the Midtown, right over there across from Millsap, they're building their own little skate park. On private property. So you cancel the one that the people of Jackson could have used, John, and then Midtown just happens to build their own skate park for them to use. That's why we call it cities inside of a city. Our babies can't skate, but their babies can. And John Horn did it. Because you may be thinking, if you're listening outside of Mississippi, you're like, yeah, Tarek and KP, but that's the story of Mississippi, right? No, the story of Mississippi is of racist white people doing that to us. That's Democratic Mayor John Horn and his transition team we're talking about. That's who's doing. No one's forcing him. Who raised you, Charlie Horn? Maybe some of you know him. Maybe you know his background. Maybe you could talk to him. What's your son doing? Our fathers, whether they're here or not, we may push them further into heaven. We may pull them further away from it. Our deeds affect those that came before us and those that came after us. And if our parents are here, we should be blessed. And we should make them proud. You can go ask Qasim Abdul Tawwab. I'll tell you my father's name. This young man's a proud representative of being a legend in the city for his father. So his name carries that on. But you can go and then you'll be able to ask his kids, tell me about your daddy. Did he shake when they offered him money? John, what are you doing? Charlie, talk to us, Mr. Horn. Excuse me. Let's keep the respect. Talk to us, Mr. Horn. Did he fall and hit his head? That's where we're at now. We need an excuse. My son hit his head, and ever since then he's been bipolar. And all these decisions were made when Uncle Ruckus was in the house, not Johnny. He has two, ulterior motives. One is Uncle Ruckus, one is Johnny. Johnny's disgusted at Ruckus for what he's doing.
You know, when he talk about he has the most partnerships across the aisle to help what he say to help Jackson.
To help Jackson move forward. Who are
those friends that help us move forward?
He has the most connections across the aisle that help us move forward, is what he told us when he ran for office.
I don't feel like I move forward at all.
No, we don't. We're not. Jackson's Rising. We know what that is now. Jackson Rising is an assault on the former black community that had a site called Jackson Rising. Former Mayor Chokwe Lumumba and the community. That's the time I'm talking about. Look at Jackson Rising. John Horn, and I feel like they're his communication directors, because you always look to the communication person, because that's who's best for communications. Nick Lott, I'm sorry. I'm just a professional man, and I'm a manager. You look to me. So you're over communications, so you're doing all the communicating. It would fit that a Republican keeps saying, hey, John, call it Jackson Rising. Just like that Chokwe, Big Chokwe was trying to do, bring everything together. That Kush plan, call it Jackson Rising. Yeah, that Kush plan they had. Remember the Kush plan? Remember Jackson Rising, what it was really about in our communities? Remember the 1% sales tax we put on ourselves? They just took our plan and ran with it. Virgie Lindsay style. Hey, Belhaven, Fondren, let's do what the Negroes were trying to do in Jackson to better themselves. Let's put a tax on ourselves and then make sure they can't come in. This is evil. That's what they're doing. And your friends across the aisle are Kane Ditto, who just kicked a young man out of the daiquiri bar. Man went online and had the nerve to not even know. He didn't have the nerve. Said, I just want to thank my landlord. We didn't even know who the landlord was at first, for at least giving me a few more days. Guess who the landlord was? Kane Ditto. AKA Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Back in 1996, little boy, I and John Horn got Business Improvement District bought in so we can make sure you young Negroes would never have a chance.
Tempting.
This is tempting. This is what they did. This is what they did. We put it up on our site so you could see it and not think we're talking about people, but we're just giving you history because you got to pay $21.99 to get to it. I paid it for you. My son's Xbox pass, he was trying to ask me for it. I took that same. Yeah, I'm dead serious. But that's that. And listen, when we say look at other articles, any article that you see pop up here, you see different ways in which the city is not being given the same support that everyone else is getting. But let me say one more thing about that ISO classification. If you're not here, remember, if you're not in Jackson and you don't know LaShawn, if you don't know Patrick Armand, you don't know who they were.
Oh, yeah.
You may say, well, Jackson, you still have a black fire chief right now. What's going on? Detroit, someone from Detroit said that to me. Y'all still have a black fire chief. No, we have a black fire captain. That's real. No, it's not. This brother didn't put himself in a position. It's no disrespect to his skill set. I think he has every bit of the experience that his position said before John Horn ignored the former chief. Patrick Armand could have been an excellent captain. But a captain is 4 levels below a fire chief. That's the first move from the setup. So 1996, catch up to us as we wind down. 1996, he's like, you know why I'm not. 1996, John Horn introduces Business Improvement District that eventually captures Fondren, all of downtown, and Belhaven, right? That's locked in. He then tries 4 times to get in office. 4th time's a charm. Or was it 3 times and the 3rd time was a charm? 4 times. The 4th time he got it. Now, who putting this money behind him all this time? That last race, not only did downtown Jackson partners brag about raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for him, so they were open about raising money. We got to finish off with we and John started back in 96. But you then saw people like, who's that family that owns the Renaissance? Andrew Matisse, the Matisse family. You saw almost every major interest in business put a person in the race. And you saw these foolish Negroes jump in. He doesn't want me in there to get Lamumba out. He likes me because my name starts with an M or with an A or with a B. I'm special. There's nothing like making a silly Negro feel special. You don't know how much you can get of his community by doing that, man. Making a weak man or woman feel like they're special before they do the work on themselves, man, it's a dangerous thing in our community. Man, come here, man. I know the rest of your community is saying you're not doing what you should be doing. We think you're amazing. That should be the first red flag. Everybody in your community saying do more. This man pulls you aside from Madison. We think you're doing an amazing job. You ain't got a good grade on nothing. Everybody, you struck. Oh my goodness, why are they talking like this about you? This is horrible. We think you should run. What? Everyone in that race had a hair's chance of winning. Let's talk real. We don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about them 20 people. All 20 of them. And I'm not saying none of them should have ran, but let's look at all 20 of them. And you ask in your head, folks coming from cities where they the mayor of 200 people, and you coming to a city of 130,000 people and nobody know you, you knew you wasn't winning. Who sent you? Cheers. Who did Andrew Matisse send? Who did the Matisse family send? Timmy. Harry and the Hendersons. I was thinking about Harry and the Henderson. Tim Henderson is who everybody has said the Matisse family threw all their money behind through campaign donations or otherwise. We have no problem discussing what everybody sees. That was what alerted us. But the Matisse family, they're doing great in Madison. Why would they care so much about Jackson politics? And we get called by black politicians. They blow a dog whistle on people that are doing this. This is what we spend our time doing. Never being violent or threatening. Studying leads. That's what we're teaching young people in West and South Jackson. That's what he's going out there and telling his little cousins to start doing. Man, pull this up at Michael Watson. Put this up on Michael Watson's website and see who owned that joint, man. And black women are vilifying us. So go look at that last election and understand how we got here. You'll see almost every big family or big major business interest throughout Mississippi threw a hat in the race. Why? Because they're getting money right now. They all are getting money. You see all of these restaurants, Fondren Renaissance. How on? Talk about it, KP. I've been just going something. You see everybody winning but us. And at a certain point yourself, how is a black mayor facilitating all of this and no one's saying anything? I think that Gibbs left. Didn't Gibbs leave the trains? We've got to figure out whether he's there or not. I feel like when your ops start getting pushed out by supremacists, you're like, hold on, I feel for my ops now. Just a minute ago, I was talking about him, and now I'm feeling for him. That's how wicked Mississippi is. They'll take the person that hurt your community and start hurting him, and you'll still feel for him. Where Gibbs at? I think he's no longer a part of the transition team. We got to find that out.
Why wouldn't he be?
Because Prado getting all the shine now.
Yeah. Then he said he's gonna be here for like 90 days.
Yeah. Well, I may only be here for 90 days because I didn't realize that this wasn't really a Jackson thing. But what did you give up before you realized that? Crude up, what did you give up before you realized that it was a Prado show? What did every black member, Zacchaeus on his team, Summers, what did you, Holly, was it Ollie? What did you give up before you realized there was nothing in it for us? And if it's nothing, it's nothing. I just supported him. I was waiting to watch. Zacchaeus clearly said, I'm not against a moratorium. We'll see when that town hall, if it happens, and she called the people together, we'll see what she's against and for. And we'll support it and we'll put it on a loudspeaker. She came out against this. But until that happens, we've got to start calling it what it is. And I just think that that we've got to look at some of the things that happened to make us say that. So on the flip side of this commercial break, we're going to talk to you a little bit more about the why behind the what. Right back at him, KP.
All right.
KP, I can know.
Socrates Garrett ENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. Socrates Garrett ENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into M.DOT grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. By using Socrates Garrett ENT.com's crushed concrete products, anyone from homeowners to general contractors can help reduce landfilled concrete waste, conserve natural resources, and gain significant economic savings on materials and disposal costs. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
Welcome back to Make It Make Sense Jackson for this commercial break that we took. I am your host, Keanu Perry, along with my co-host,
Tariq Abdul-Tawwab.
And you know,
diligent looking up information.
Well, before we left for the commercial break, we was talking a little bit about Midtown. Tariq, you had
Yeah. What we were talking about is a whole picture. If you're new to this, especially for those that aren't from here, may not know what Midtown is. Think we're talking about a different. Because someone asked me, "What is this?" That pisses people off in Detroit because this Little Europe, right? You see, as a communities, when you look on next door, you see Little Europe as a community within Jackson, and that threw some people off. But Midtown, we're still talking Jackson, Mississippi. We're just talking about we were actually talking about, to be specific, the Midtown partners and the areas that they've developed. And the fact that you've got to look at a lot of these boards, because just like what happened when you had members of our leadership that gave things to downtown Jackson partners and gave things to the state. And then when it was time for Jackson to get something, the golf court, the Brown golf course, and Lake Caroline was supposed to get $100,000 for cameras. And because they had given the state everything they wanted, John Horn had coaxed the people into the Water Authority. The city council, Justice Gibbs, the younger Gibbs, showed up and stood up and said what he was supposed to say to make the state knew, I'm not pushing against you. Crewed up. The rest of John's team showed up and stayed quiet. The city council shut up when it was time to be quiet during that time. All of them. Folks have stood up since then, but all of them stayed quiet then, right? And so since everything happened, they thought they would get money. Then that legislative session came down. LaFleur got $19 million combined to go towards the state park and the museum. Everybody got taken care of. Streets were getting paved going into Flowood and coming out of Flowood. Ridgeland, going into Ridgeland and Jackson, all of a sudden, you saw people get pulled over and folks starting to pay attention. Nothing happening for us, crickets.
You said LaFleur Bluff, what you say?
LaFleur, LaFleur's Bluff State Park. Excuse me. What did I call it?
No, I was
okay. Yeah.
No, you good.
But LaFleur's East, we talked about. And we started talking about the intermixing. Why was any of this help before John Horn got into office? My God, the city looks good. What is he doing for you all Republicans? We don't see it. It's not coming to our neighborhoods yet. John's chief of staff said it's coming soon, West Jackson and South Jackson.
Peter Terwusa.
Peter Terwusa said, don't worry, we coming, y'all. Hold tight.
Yeah, they said he had a planned $400,000 for West Jackson. But you know, like I said last time on the show, I said, well, where are they going to get their $400,000 from? And like I said, the first thing that pulled up was Blossom Apartments because Tony Little, what was he, the owner of?
Yeah. You owed $400,000.
He owed $400,000.
So you sell that apartment. Hell, you got people like Jennifer Welch on your housing transition team. Go look up Jennifer Welch here in Mississippi on his housing transition team. Specializes in working with companies that wait till it gets run down and then buy low, build up, sell high. She was a specialist in that. John bought her on the housing team. For what? To figure out how not to help Blossom? I'm not jumping in, but that makes you wonder. Don't do this or it'll keep them in there. You bring on, that's like being a doctor and bringing on a shooter. But where would you shoot him so that I can't help him? Man, I'll pop him right there. Why would you do that? That's what you bring on Jennifer Welch to help people getting evicted from apartments where Jennifer works for people that usually wait for folks to get evicted from apartments and then buys that apartment low and sells it high. So we started looking at Midtown. The reason we started looking at Midtown, I promise you, tell them me and KP driving by and we saw sometimes folks can't help but to play in your house before they finish stealing it from you. You going by your house, the windows open, and you see them. Why are they in my house playing around? Maybe they had something to do with it. They're supposed to wait till you move. So we ride by and we see a whole bunch of folks skating.
Yep. And immediately when we got out of the car, the presence was, y'all not supposed to be here.
And they actually tried to act, they were friendly by telling us this is private property.
Yeah.
Well, brother and sister, if you want to break the law, we ready to break it with you. Let's rock on. That's not what it was like. They was like, oh, be careful. This is private property.
Yeah.
Well, you're here. I think people think black people are stupid a lot of times here. Seriously, in Mississippi, they believed it. They read the books and they believe it. All blacks, put on Birth of a Nation again, Bertha. We've got to figure out what they're really about. This white fella painted in black is hitting it right on the head. This is what they must do. Because they do stuff right in front of us, think we're not going to figure it out. You skating. You think we forgot we were supposed to get a skating park? We were excited about that. Kids were excited about that. A lot more black kids skate too. I know you don't believe it. But black kids like to skate too.
Yeah.
So we go by and we see them skating. And they say, private property. Just funny that private property, they skating on it just like they was going to skate before. Then we moving through Midtown and we see the skate park. Nowhere near the neighborhood where our kids live, because at first we're happy. Like, well, maybe they're putting skate parks in each part of where Midtown says is Midtown. We drove up looking in the black areas for the skating parks. They said, this is Midtown on the map. So they get the appropriations for this. They get tax credits for it. They're in communities that need to be built up. So I'm sure you're getting tax credits for building up impoverished communities. But we down there, the black neighborhoods, we don't see the same thing down here. Hey, Midtown. Hey, Chris Boone. We don't see the same thing over here, you know? And if you notice, I call out Crystal Boone because these are where things start to overlap. Crystal Boone works for Jackson Prep. It's called a PWI, private white institution. These are schools that were known to have been created so that black kids and white kids wouldn't go to school together here in Mississippi. Pillow Academy, Leak Academy, Jackson Academy. Jackson Academy was so egregious they got removed from having school in those churches during the flooding, remember? Because they weren't even supposed to be a nonprofit, as racist as they were. They've let a few black kids in and play football, and that's true. You don't deny that where it happens at, right? That's what it is. A white parent at Jackson Academy got mad. He sued. I'm sorry. The white parent was like, now hold on. My kids should be playing, and you keep bringing in black kids to let them play. You don't bring them in any other time. The truth will come out. Why was that parent mad that his kid wasn't playing? Because the black kids came in all the time. How do you make that argument? And yep. I didn't want to repeat it because I didn't hear it say it louder. But yes. They're losing public school recruits to private schools. That's right. Rapidly. I don't know why these schools, man. I don't know why Callaway. I don't know why. Listen, pull one of these PWIs and pull Lamonte Ellis from there for me. I'll wait. Okay. And I'm not talking about one that got put in there just to get an opportunity. That came up through Provine. It came up through Jim Hill. I'm talking about one of them. Bring me one of them. But you stealing these students. You swap them around in these schools. And then the same people, Crystal Boone is only one of the people on there, right? But you put the same people that help orchestrate a runaway from the black community. Now you put them on a board like Midtown, right? Guess who the path, guess where her husband is? Remember, Jackson, 2 cities, 1 Jackson. People talk about my wife, my children all the time. Where we are, there his wife's right there, and they work for here. Hennepin did it last. And look at his wife, and that's fine, sir. Her husband was a board member for, I think he's actively a board member for Fondren Renaissance Foundation. And I would wonder if Kathy Boone was a close relative. The same powers that are driving all of these boards are slowly in collaboration with Mayor Horn. Because remember, Midtown, we're going to talk about Midtown Charter School next. Just the charter schools in general, not jumping on those. But remember, Midtown, Fondren, Belhaven, downtown, they all are able to do the things they're doing because John Horn co-authored business improvement districts. Stop for a moment. You may say, Tariq, why are you blaming that on John? How are you blaming that on John? I'm a professional. Cease and desist will eventually come, but they're not coming yet. You know why? Because during that time, the federal government was so scared of Mississippi's voting record with black people. They openly said, no, we don't want a business improvement district. We just don't trust your government and black people in voting. Remember Mississippi Burning? So big a movie could be made out of it? That was in the 60s. So now you try to bring a business improvement district in a short 20 years later, the government was like, nah, you're going to have to get more people. We don't believe you. We can get a black person. Yeah, they got to represent somebody. We can get a black Republican. Hell no. You'd have to get a black Democrat. We got one. They got to be from Jackson. We got one. How, Sway? That's what the federal government said. How? John was like, they call me John Horn. I'm Charlie's son. We're going to have to shout your daddy out every time now because you're hurting us too much, Mr. Horn. Who raised you?
They ain't showing him.
We ain't going to do that to mothers because we know how mothers get lost when the father takes the son off. And I even run with my father. My mother blessing my father. I want to be my father. We're not going to do that to that. So we're going to do it to you, Mr. Charlie. My father going to get mad at me, keep saying his name. Son, these people keep emailing me. But I'm going to tell you who raised me. So John introduced the business improvement district legislation that allowed Midtown, that allowed downtown Jackson Partner, Fondren Renaissance, Belhaven, and they all work together. Let's create something that they can't touch. Let's see if the black parts of what's considered Midtown ever look like what we see down there. Let's see if escape. And guess what? I wish these people would say, let's prove Tariq wrong and build it. I love it. We won. Don't you understand that? You can't hurt me by helping my people. You help me there too. I don't have to convince them you didn't do it before because they don't have a skate park now. They're building it right in Midtown. They've got every right to. It's illegal. It's wrong. It's wrong for Mayor Horn to have shut down a skate park our children could have used and let them go ahead and build one of theirs because don't you have to have permits for that? Didn't strike you as funny down in Code? Man, y'all all, man, there's a lot of cowards in here, man. This is for the whole city. You may say, well, no one in the city's black. A lot of them are black. A lot of them are shutting their mouth. Man, it don't take no level to speak up. You ain't got to be no president or director. Usually it's the lower workers that see everything anyways. That's how it was when I was working. My way up like I did. No degree here, GED, worked my way up in the company. Manager, director, even higher, executive, right? You work your way up, 25, 30 years. But they know what's happened. Go ask the people on the fries at McDonald's how much grease they use. That'll be the truest answer. So how many alerts are coming out of City Hall? Cowards lie everywhere. And strong people lie everywhere because alerts come out of City Hall, believe me. They're just the small alerts. So you should assume a few things. Everybody in City Hall for the majority is happy with what's happening to the city and they can see it. So when this goes down, and then folks that worked at City Hall and code enforcement while the Indian stores are not responding to anything, while folks like Marticello, if I mispronounced that name, check me wrong on that KP and read the brother's name out, but are going there with glasses, with catching them, adding 75-cent surcharges to debit cards. But okay, this is what I'm gonna put for you. Make it make sense, Chief Brackney. And it's not you, but help me make it make sense, Chief. I'm not saying you're on the other side of this. But Chief Brackney sees, so this woman is from Virginia and Pittsburgh. How is she able to see a police officer doing donuts online on Cheesy or
Cheese TV?
Cheese TV. I'm so old, yeah, people. Or Cheese TV. Why is you even watching Cheese TV, Brackney? I'm just joking. They reposted it and whatnot. I'm being serious, right? But she saw that on social media. But you didn't see on social media John Horn or any member of the city council. I'm gonna put this on all of y'all. Or any member of code enforcement, all the way down to the person that cleans the garbage in code enforcement. Ain't none of y'all heard us on Make It Make Sense saying, oh, I'm sorry, saw that Brother Marticello's video where he's with glass, he's seeing them charge 75 cents to a debit and then gets run out the store. Just like I call out Tougaloo's political science department. Now it's time to call out the city. None of y'all saw that, Slick? On your mama? None of y'all saw it?
Just like they didn't see us get whistleblower.
None of y'all saw us, but we could take it. No, we can't. Y'all should speak up for everything. But none of y'all saw that. None of y'all saw this brother video. I know you lying because the thing's at like 30,000 hits and it's at 3,000 here, 3,000 there. I know someone in code enforcement saw it. But this young man shouldn't lose opportunities and it's okay. I'm not going to complain too much about me. But it shouldn't be okay that KP don't get jobs he wants to get now. Oh, yeah, if you weren't working with them people to talk about, but you work in the city. You work in code enforcement. When is it coming? Why don't we see code enforcement running up in these stores? Another brother showing how they're taking a screwdriver and screwing nails in a gas pump so the thing doesn't stop when you put it back. Where's code enforcement at? What's the minimum wage here, KP?
Minimum wage?
Yeah. Right now, it's still at, tell us, guys, it's still at
something, I forgot.
Did it go up to 14? No, it couldn't have, because people in Jackson were still getting paid $9 an hour.
Oh, you said minimum wage. I thought you said
$7, right?
Yeah, $7. No, wait.
$7 an hour. And I think he's going to find out about $7 an hour. And you let them folks get abused like that? $7.25. I mean, am I right? Looking at that situation, how would you look at it?
It's a clear understanding of who's shielding you and moving you towards what's actually going on.
You're getting pushed towards there.
You're getting pushed towards it.
We should say Midtown. I'll drink at a shop and don't know that Midtown owns it. And I ask, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying Midtown shouldn't own anything. No, just include all of Jackson when you have plans.
Now we understand why you now you know they blocked the comments again on JPD on Facebook. You can't comment.
Nick, what are you doing, Nick Lott? Nick Lott keeps blocking so you can't comment on the. When I say Nick Lott, understand how I say that. He's the director of communications. I'm an ex-director, I'm an ex-executive. I understand I take the hits for the whole team. So I'm not saying Nick made every decision. He has a team. But Nick Lott's communications team decided once again to block JPD's site so you can't make comments. But, you should still be able to see what's going on. It don't matter whether he do that or not right now. If Chief Brackney can come from Pittsburgh in Charlottesville and somehow find out one of our officers is doing donuts and suspend him, then how can nobody on city council or in the code department or Mayor Horn, Terwoosin, Gibbs, Crudup, none of y'all, where's our senators at? Zakia's here. She can do it as well. I know she shouldn't have to. That should come from the local ones. We'll take any help now. Fabian's here. He might have already said something. Fabian gets a little more active than most people I see. He might have already said something. But why is nobody saying something? Y'all pretending y'all don't see that social media post? I know you do because you saw Cheese TVs. Stop playing with us and look how quickly you all acted. Hey, Cheese TV, this Negro police officer doing donuts. Chief Brackney, suspend him. Hey, guys, you all see what they're putting up? That guy Monticello's got his glasses on. The Indian stores are charging an extra 75 cents. Did you know minimum wage was still $7.25? Yeah, anyway, the Indian store owners, predominantly in those communities where that minimum wage hits, they're charging an extra 75 cents. What do you mean Surrender Singh's his buddy? Hello? That's all we can imagine is happening. Because not once have we seen anything take place. So, DC, we need you to ask Mayor Horn that next time he's in town. Detroit or Chicago, next time Gibbs is there, ask him that. Yes, sir, we like the suit, man. And we like, when y'all shining and talking about the new road y'all paved in Hines County. We like that little JJ move you do, Gibbs. But tell us this. We got this video of you standing up in city council after Hennepin said black people don't like to pay their bill, essentially, because all of Jackson is black. Then you said something weak, right? And we learned that ABC, we learned that we got the store owners on video with proof. Jody, well, I know why Jody can't jump in, but maybe they got it with proof. John, city council, local politicians, y'all gonna do something? Y'all do have a code enforcement department, right? Oh, okay. But your previous mayor did something. Y'all wanted him gone. Now we see why. Surrender Singh's like, this is great. Playing that song. I'm not gonna try to sing.
It's already at the point where the people is going to have to speak up. Like how we showed up at that data center and we went viral, and we had the national or with the local news out there trying to frame us. I think that's why I'm choking.
Yeah, drink that water.
No, this is why I'm choking.
Oh, because of the water. I got you.
Yeah, we had the local news out there trying to whistleblow that we were violent, and
Yes.
we responded by showing that we weren't violent, and like how you walked off on Ross Adams, and we had the people also stand up for us. It's gonna take y'all getting up and actually going and holding these people accountable.
That's right. Y'all eat with these people at the work at these newspaper stations. You all eat with these people. Y'all go with these people. And you saw what happened. See, we can speak about it. You all saw because we ran an interview. And then that interview, nothing was used out of it. Not even written. They were trying to set us up as being, and thank God we ran the live where we said every statement. And our lawyers looked, mostly thinking we just out here doing his way. But it was just sound. We brought up all the violence happening surrounding data centers and we encouraged our people. You don't need that. We've got this beautiful thing called a vote our ancestors died for. And because of our passion, they know we're not playing with that. You better use that vote and tell them people, I'll vote you out. You'll go everywhere that law allows you, and you use your mouth and your vote and your threat of not voting for them. And you make them work for you. But that's what happens when you push back. The powers that be, and I said during that interview, which is a sad thing, and if you're not from Jackson, jump on our page, make it make sense, JXN, because most of our people are on there. Y'all bots, I'm sorry, y'all people that try to go under different names and jump under there, we apologize. If you too shamed to show who you are and look at the page, man, we don't need you. And I'm sorry, we need soldiers that are going to stand up. By soldiers, I mean metaphorically, people that are willing to do the work, Lashia, in city council. But we need folks that are willing to do it no matter what you think about it. So we keep our page tight. We'd rather only have the few thousand that we have as our base than a bunch of other people that are scared. Because if you're scared online, I know you're scared in real person. We don't need you. What's the matter, boss? We sick. We don't need you. We're good. To all them people that jumped in when we started the data center and went in them comments, well, we don't agree with some of the other things, then get out of here. If you don't agree with our humanity when we talk about our children, if you don't agree when we talk about our community, then get off my page. Take me down a few thousand to 10 or 20 or to the 60 we started with. That's the problem. We're not the same. You want fame, we want freedom, and we want a chance for our people to actually progress. So you keep putting things over our head that we don't care about. Take this money. And when we put it on blast, look, he's telling me, I wasn't saying that. People dropping money around us and whatnot. Don't come to us. We're just going to put it on blast. We stay live. Truman Show, baby. And hundreds of y'all see everything that's happening. Folks at radio stations leaning on us. Well, this radio station person said you were mean to them. We actually had someone tell people and then call us in. And then says they didn't make it, but I won't make it. But they called us in to say another radio person said you were mean to him. Now, I said, when did the incident happen? 3 days ago. So hypothetically today, when the city council is coming out with an article about us saying we're violent, being a whistleblower, Lashia Brown Thomas is who's been missing. So much so we had a game called Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Where in the world is Lashia Brown Thomas? Because her constituents just wanted answers. Nobody can find her. She pops up on the front of an article. We don't need violence, even though the newspaper said Abdul Tawwab never said anything about violence. So Lashia knew that before she said it. Brian knew that before he wrote that statement. How dare you use a white supremacist whistleblower as a black man and woman in the middle of Mississippi? But they went to print. And they knew it.
Yeah. When you piggybacking off of that situation with the radio, no, I was gonna say that same person that said we were being mean to them, that person actually, I know you remember this day, that person accused us of not getting off on time, and when we came out of our show, he got into a loud display with us like, it's been like this way 5 times, and y'all got to stop this. We were like, well, hold on, bro.
Pushed into our studio room and started yelling at us about we didn't understand. We were new. We were not journalists, like people keep reminding us of, right? We were new to the game. You got to get off earlier was yelling at us. The same person. We've had our studio door kicked in at 90.1, and people charge it while we finishing on air. I'm the king, punk, that, and they see it. And thankfully, man, that's why we always shout out Sherry. We always shout out because it's always people that make things work. It's always people. Sherry Jones swinging away for us. Nah, man, them young fellas. People calling in talking about why you letting them talk. Sherry Jones saying, if they speaking the truth, Bo, why are you bothered, brother? We got to shout out everybody that steps out there for us. Even when folks like Prado come and say, man, once you get him off y'all station, once you get him, we still talking. Shout out to everyone that stands strong. We only stay around people that stand strong. So even though they lose opportunities, big up to the people that stand up for their community and pass up opportunities to allow people like us to still have a voice. Because it's hard. We don't tell you how to do it. It's just that you do it. God says, you come to me, you fight how you can. You're in the middle of people and you can't swing on them, and you start praying as hard as you can. Out loud. You can't pray out loud, you pray in your hand. You can't wash yourself, you wash with dirt. But any way you can fight, you can fight. That's why I say it's a shame that we got a whole Black City of Jackson employee staff, and one person started one code ethics violation after we got videos of store owners charging an extra 75 cents on debit. Illegal. Folks getting paid $7.25 an hour. And you think folks are leaving Jackson because it's a brain drain. You lost your mind.
I used to be proud to brag about, that was one of the most braggadocious things I would say about Jackson, that we got a predominantly Black fire department. Right. Now the fire department is taken over by somebody that's, predominantly Black police department. Now the police department is being taken over somebody, that. You see what's going on?
You see what's happening?
You see what's happening? Predominantly Black city council. Now the city council is taking over somebody that. You see what's happening?
So the people that you thought were put in position to protect us are not protecting us at all. The people are not being protected, and that's the state of emergency here. And what goes in Mississippi is going to happen in your state. So don't get it twisted. Joe Biden came down to Eastman and his buddies to find out how to deal with these Negroes trying to bust with us together in Boston and in the North. Don't think you're safe. They tested out on Mississippi. Yeah. And coming soon to a city near you. It worked in Mississippi, so we'll work it there. What's Joe Biden doing down here talking to Eastman back doing busing? Go look it up. Know your history. That has nothing to do with your allegiances or how voting works for us. Man, everybody can work for us, and if they worked against us, we'll say it. We got the right as Black people to say what you did to hurt us and work with you if we want to get better, because you owe us. So just because someone hurt you in the past don't mean you can't make them help you. If voting for you is going to help me, then that may be what we need to do as a community. But don't you forget what they did. Don't you forget Joe Biden came to the most racist state, who handled their Black people the most racistly to get help on how to handle Black people in the North when they tried to bust the schools together with them. So it'll happen in your city next if you don't pay attention to what's happening here. Because to the young man's point, there's Black folk doing this to us here.
Yeah.
It's opening the door for that supremacy to come in.
Open the door right open.
It's Mayor Horn that introduced the Business Improvement District. It's Mayor Horn that signed SB 2001 along with other people, allowing data centers to make it easy. SB 2001 pours oil on the slide for data centers to be able to open. That makes it that much easier. He signs that, then brings in Gabriel Prado and Robert Island. Gabriel Prado's bringing a data center somewhere near you. You just won't know till it starts. Robert Island's representing Sexum, both bought in by John Horn, America. Robert Island representing Sexum, bringing a data center to Forest Avenue. How did it get here? Who bought you? Just like under the former administration. You looked at old Chloe and what was the other young lady's name?
Say it again.
Oh, man, the people that came in under the planning department, I think. Chloe was in there, Jai was in there with him, and then the sister Jordan that went over to Jackson Water. When people come in and then transition to entities that you're not happy with, you have to ask, who bought them in? When you see a company like Open.gov have access to all your city's information and you never look at who owns it, first time, shame on them. Second time, shame on us. Who owns Open.gov that has access to all of our records in the city of Jackson and had them all that time? Stuff was just happening. Go look it up. Can't teach you we got to teach you how to fish so you can get it when you come out of there. Go look up who's on a board at Midtown. Go look on who's on a board of the Fondren Renaissance. Go look at who's on the board of East LaFleur. And then you'll see a common theme. Your mayor. Because he works wonderfully across the aisle. And Jackson Rising is happening wonderfully under him. You're just not rising 70%. This is for the talented 10th. And even the talented 10th Negroes are getting tricked and getting nothing. Even the talented 10th, even the bourgeois, even the elite of the Black are finding out there's nothing in it for you. Why would Gibbs have exited so quickly? He's a businessman. All them trucks that Waste Management wanted, You stood by them and something was supposed to be there for you. Where you going, Gibbs? What Johnny tell you? This Gabriel show, man. I can't do nothing for you, partner. Forget what movie that's from. He ain't running the set now. Gabriel's running the set. You could stay or you could go. They was arguing. Ted Wilson was like, I don't like it. We ain't get our cameras. And Pete Brown golf course. Horn was like, hey, stop raising your voice when Prado's in the house. And then Horn took a napkin and wiped off Prado's face. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you're a coward for not liking what John Horn's doing.
He let Tyrese kiss his wife.
He did. Tried to protect that. And why is that important? I'm a married man of 20 plus years. And I assure you, when I meet a man, what's going on, brother? And he greets my wife and leans in for a kiss. Me and him are very close. Bless you. Even if it's just through doing business together to change our family and our legacy and our wealth forever. Me and him are very close, or he's from a country where they're customs to kiss on the cheek.
That's that mob.
That's not where Tate's from. I don't think Rankin County's custom is to kiss on the cheek. How you doing, man? Mwah! I've never seen it in Rankin County before. I'm gonna keep it a stack. I've never seen that in Rankin County. So Tate felt comfortable, and that shows us the social understanding between John Horn and Governor Tate. Between Governor Tate and this should hurt you, United States, between Governor Tate and the President Crossley, Will Crossley of Piney Woods, who just came from the Obama administration. Why would people be calling us from Piney Woods saying, Governor Tate's here and he's meeting with the president? I'm like, you sure? Wait, we clean? Yeah, we sure. Snap, picture. You got every right to meet with Governor Tate. He's the governor of your state, Will Crossley. You've got every right to take your children to the Dixie Parade. By all means. You got every right. No, you don't. I'm going to stop here. What you don't have every right is to fill that school, Piney Woods, which was created for the descendants of African American enslaved in a chattel slavery system here that still didn't have rights after Reconstruction. That school was built for their descendants. Now, it's fine for you to bring children in from Africa, but for us to investigate and see that the majority, 90+% of every child there is from Africa. That means that our babies are getting nothing, even as we get pushed back into the sharecropping fields. Their children don't even have a place. You've got 3 or 4 kids from Jackson and other parts of Mississippi. Then you go and you look at the workers and you talk to the workers and you realize the administration or the higher level workers, the farm, people running the farm, those are the people that teach the children how to take those skills back into their neighborhood and communities and start farming. All Caucasian, administrative, 90% Caucasian on both sides. And you see people that have been working in student affairs for 40 years, lost their money in bad deals with Comcast that certain leaders promoted, got to work in their 60s and 70s. I was a director. I know how to work people up. Everyone that I moved up in my company, I moved from within. I rarely hide from outside. You telling me you can't find not one black person in this good Piney Woods school to move up? You just got to keep using white people? But you were strong enough to work for Obama. I only work for Verizon, and look what I'm doing, buddy. You work for Obama as a lawyer, and you can't figure out how to get black kids into Pineywood? Make it make sense. I mean, Fidelis, he used to work for the city. He rightfully so is looking for ways when he brags. I invigorated Pineywood by bringing in African students. That's Malam Becca. They used to work for Lumumba. I worked with him before, and he used to tell me, hey, you know what? We bought African kids, and that's how we saved them. Okay, I thought you were bringing African kids on top of the black kids that were coming here that maybe couldn't afford it. I never knew that the descendants weren't getting anything. I never knew that the descendants weren't getting anything. I'm just looking at all these people that go through this. You thinking this is Rankin County. Makes it hurt or makes it sink in a little more. Right? I never knew that this was being done on the backs of our children not getting in there and getting this education. So you telling me 17 schools get shut down in Jackson alone? There's threats of consolidating everywhere. How can the white, far right, find a way to stick vouchers into everything, plan on it, meet on it? but leadership that comes from the Obama administration. So don't you tell me we don't have expertise now. You know how they say, Jackson, you keep putting people that don't have the experience in those positions. Well, let's talk about when we put people that do have the experience. Will Crossley comes from the Obama administration. He should definitely have the experience of turning Piney Woods into something that services the descendants of African-American slavery. Kenny Stokes is a lawyer, can argue in court. Brian Grizzell has multiple degrees. Kevin Parkinson has multiple degrees. Tina Clay is a realtor, and I'm sure has degrees. Lashia Thompson is a law enforcement officer of decades. Ashby Foote went to a university that has the lowest acceptance rate in this country, West Point. Vernon Hartley is a former military higher-up man that was on the airport commission. You telling me these people aren't smart enough to figure out ways to help their city? Will Crossley's not smart enough to figure out a way not to take black students to the Dixie Parade? After the former mayor Lumumba fought just to not have huge billboards with Confederate signs hanging over the city of Jackson, so 80-year-old people that were really scared really peed in their pants at the age of 8 because the Klan was marching in Jackson, so they could go to sleep looking at this billboard. That's why they were sued to stop under the previous administration's period. And you decide. Remember the young man asked you? Well, no one understands what happens when people of power get in positions, right? When qualified people get in positions. Lawrence Clifton Jones would be disgusted. My grandmother worked with the school. Mary Grace Rogers, shout out to her. She worked well with their school. She was 100, close to 100 when she passed, and she passed years ago. I almost got born at Piney Woods. Long story. My grandmother wanted my mother to teach there instead of where she won her award. And this, who's going to tell Lawrence Clifton Jones, yeah, I know that you were a black man that created this school in 1909. Oh, that was an accomplishment. It's all Africans at your school, sir. Rest in peace. Pour some liquor out over your grave. That's how gangster Crossley and them other guys are. While school after school, and now the Republicans just came out with another emergency statement. They just said they're about to start consolidating schools again. But what we created, so stop talking to us about we need to support those old institutions. Why? Let's make them the old institution first. You got slaves on Tougaloo's land buried underneath. While the elections that put us in a situation we are in right now happened and 2 people voted. You think the ancestors can't feel that? We're a spiritual people. You've accepted that your ancestors' ways of life is sorcery and whatnot. All of us haven't. We believe that those that have transitioned can still feel what's happening here. I do. And I think you disrespected them so much when one of them in that ancestral burial ground on Tougaloo felt the pain of trying to stand up and have something. And in a university where Benny's name is on a building, you got only 2 votes to come out. Make it make sense. Jackson State, I heard the votes were even lower. Make it make sense. Alcorn and Valley, you all couldn't vote in this. You all get left out for now. Your political science departments are still on call. And why are all the HBCUs, DC, on call here? Because shout out to Gil Scott-Heron. I say this for a reason every time I bring this up. HBCUs are breeding grounds for civil rights. And in the most impactful moment for civil rights in this state, HBCU political science departments are quiet. We yell things and they don't even jump in and say we need the code department to do this. They don't even use what's happening as political science courses. But Jackson State professors can all of a sudden come up with whole curriculums built around an org like Mississippi for Just Words criteria. Now, whether they got it given to them unknowingly or whether they took it, you don't know that. If you see something, say something. Y'all gonna learn, stop doing stuff around us. And Jackson State told us that, students, not you. That's how we found that out. Students, well, they can take stuff from Mississippi, but when NAACP had their march, they didn't say Mississippi for Just Words was with them. You made people mad when you leave people out. Then they call us and tell us, and we look, we fix our binoculars. Okay, you're right. But these schools are quiet as our city's being taken over. How is it that 2 young black men are telling you, United States, that we've got plantation Democrats, but these schools' political departments haven't said a thing? The students are strong. Students are fed up because that's who we talk to. So this is how you do it. Again, Lawrence Clifton Jones, if you're related to him, if you know him, if you love him, and you're not one of those people trying to keep the control here, Sheila Jones from BET is part of that board, I believe. You could ask somebody. You don't have to be here to ask somebody. I think she's in Chicago. Go up and ask her. Bougie wild black people. You still connected to us? Hey, Sheila, why would there no black kids at Pineywood? Or maybe 5 out of 35 or 45 or 75. And they closed 17 schools just in Jackson. The kids in Greenfield, everyone's having problems. We know you got kids that need it, Pineywood. Don't tell us that. Why are you meeting with Governor Tate? Why are you taking your kids to the Dixie Festival? Why are all the students and teachers and everything being harassed by the headmaster so they're too scared to say anything? Why are we going to a basketball game and Rankin County white guests are allowed to yell, but when Tarek Abdul-Tawwab goes to a game and yells, they tell him to shush and try to kick him out and call the police? And he yells the same way with the same professionalism. I love my children. I don't yell curses. And I'm an old basketball player, so I just keep it to the game. Rankin County fans were yelling like all day at Pineywood. I was like, come on, coach. You must be the 6-man ref. You letting them, that wasn't a travel. Sir, they've asked you to leave. You cannot be white. You cannot yell like that. You're you. This happening at Pine. So if you won the United States, why is Mississippi look like they're having progress? Because someone got the bag. You had a handler, a straw boss, a John Horn. We getting Eric Adams here. Remember him in New York? That's what's happening to us here. You make that vote work for us, the hard as we working, we'd be blowing up here. We'd have a skating park instead of just Midtown having a skating park. And let's see how many of you weak back Negroes that talk about what's wrong with these kids actually drive through Midtown and see if we're lying. Let's see how many of you that say the kids are the problem actually go see if we really lost a whole skate park establishment where kids could have done their music. See if we lost that. The newspaper's there, and go look and see if one got put right back. And then go look and see who we were looking at to build it for us and see if it ain't the same company. Then go look to see who was involved with planning when Mayor Lumumba was trying to set it up and see if they're the same people that were still involved once we lost it. Make it make sense. We won't stop playing with our people. I drive into Midtown, I get followed 3 times. Now, you follow when the car comes behind you. There was military guys in a damn little sand dune follow me. Came out of nowhere. I pulled up next to him and was about to go live. They got out of there quick. They must have heard the rumor. Them Negroes go live. Get away quick. He gonna go live on you, and I did. My hand was sweaty, so it was a video. I got it for y'all, though. Then next, we had another dude that came in a little gray car. Just going in circles. I started asking him, what you think about, and then he got out of there quick. What you think about the data centers? Some reason when you talk to people, and all the brothers and sisters I talked to around there confirmed everything we're saying. What's the brother said? I said, what you think about what's happening here? It ain't North End no more. That's what the brothers and sisters over there talking to me about. They stopped in the middle of working and tell me about everything. Everything. Pull the call over, man. I knew something was going on when they started building up a certain way, man. I knew something was going on. It was letting stuff go down. They knew it was happening. The ones with no voice saw it all happening. The ones with no platform like we have saw it all happening. And they spoke to each other about it. But the ones with voices sat there and they saw it happen and let it happen to you and said nothing to you. That's that difference. So when we read more board members, when we say Fondren Renaissance, go look at who's on that board just so you're aware. There's black people and white people on there. Go look on it so you're aware. Look on it so you can understand which board members are connected to City Hall, who has ties to major developments, who serves on multiple Jackson nonprofits, business improvement districts, or economic development boards. That network may be more help to you figuring out what's happening in Jackson than you think. Because when you see the name Boone pop up everywhere, I wonder if they're related to Andy Boone, who worked in. These are things you got to ask. I wonder if they're related to Andy Boone, who worked for 311. I think he finally took a rest, and that man worked hard. That doesn't change the question. Put these Boones together like it's Boone's Farm on a Friday, and it's 1996, right? If it's nothing, it's nothing. If we is related, you are related. That just let us know. If it's Abdul-Tawwab, they may be related to me. Perry may not be quite as locked in. But go look at who's on these boards and how they're taking over and how nice they are at Midtown to you. Come get some coffee. And I like that coffee, just like I like the coffee everywhere. I'm a coffee fiend. You'll learn that about me. Right? But what else are you doing, Midtown? Because what you building over here across from Millsap don't look like up the street. Across from Millsap, And then you notice across from Millsap on the front, the apartment buildings and whatnot, they kept them beat down and torn down. They just started working on them. Don't let them know what we're doing back here. They left that little burger shop. They left everything right where it was, right where Canopy is. Leave it like it is. Don't fix this up too quick. If you had taken a left down one of them streets, you would have seen that work happening. Nightlife, restaurants with graffiti painted on it. What's that restaurant? Making it look like it's cultural. Right down there, the Good Samaritan, right down there where they give out a little bit of food. Right down where they're building up the house, right where the train tracks are. That's why they pretend. So you had a chance to build 60 houses. You couldn't do that, but you sure managed to build a few houses near the train tracks. For people that had vouchers and they were going from housing to housing. But you have a homeless population. And then you got white folks from Madison just so clueless. And I like you all, but you're clueless. One white lady said, yeah, I'll come to Jackson to party, and I like her for this. When you start making it safe and taking care of your homeless people, well, sis, I'm just joking on the sis part, but you'll be happy to know what they're doing with the homeless. You're right. You're hitting on something there. You're hitting on something there. It's just that you don't care about the rest of the things, so we can't. You got to look at what's happening down there. And if I'm getting followed driving through there now by somebody, we don't know who, but 3 different people decided, we got 10 minutes, we won't land this. 3 different people decided to follow me. And I was driving a nice car, smiling at people, waving and asking questions. Didn't look like nothing wrong. Shout out to my sister on the gas station. I didn't know that was Gabriel Prado right there at, where he's building on Meadowbrook and State. Shay, my sister Shay, that I met at the gas station, right? Shout out to her because we got deep into that conversation, right? But we were looking and we didn't know the gas station was Don Gabriel. We looked across at what he was building and we started to talk deeply about John Horn, the business improvement district of 96, and the things that he's done since then to let these folks into our city. And now they dominate it. The money-making quarter of our city, they dominate. We're going to have to make a new money-making quarter. But shout out to that sister as we looked at everything that was happening. But that was the so if people don't want you to look at what's happening in Midtown, we need to look at what's happening in Midtown. This stuff be so easy sometimes. How do him and KP do it? We just go to where they shut the door real quick. Hey, how you doing? Nothing happening here, buddy. Okay, KP, I think we need to spin the block. We're learning to come up softly, right? Hey, how are you? I'm working on it.
Spin the block hasn't come back.
Yeah, we come back. We spin back around. Why you close the door so quickly? We went to the skate park. Hey, this is private property, guys. We could have been asking for directions. We just said, hey, guys, hey, this is private property. What you doing? Okay, you know what? We weren't doing nothing, but now guess what we are doing? Spinning the block. We got a new segment. If my brother accepts it, Spinning the Block with Dudeville Dave. It was an old segment y'all didn't see. I got to get with my brother and see if we could bring that segment back because it taught you so much more than you would know about this city. It'll blow your mind. That's a brother that understands the city, understands his neighborhood, and can talk about it in a way to. So we're going to see if we're going to bring that back. We will. I bet you. But this is what's happening. So in Midtown, go check it out and see what's happening in your city. See, when we stop Black women and Black men like Brian Griselda, LaShia Brown Thomas from criminalizing us so we can continue to tell you what to look at, why would you ever use violence? Our ancestors died from violence so that you wouldn't need it. Why would we ever tell you to use it when we could cut these Negroes open with our words, boy? That's why they want to talk about violence, because we hurting them with words. You know that make sense. We're hurting them with nonviolence so much. They said, oh my God, call them violent. Maybe they'll start doing it. Because this nonviolent stuff where they're just telling the truth and posting old archive article is killing us. No one even knew about Leland Speed. Otha was quiet, and he's the only one in that community that would have known besides John and them. And he was quiet. Him and Shamson ain't saying nothing. We were good to them boys started talking about it. And these Negroes got the nerve to pay. How did they get the money to pay $21? Sir, we got a little something now. It's 2026. I thought we stopped that. Didn't you put a $5.95 to some old dude like Ross Barnett? I thought you put a $5.95. How can they afford a sharecropping? Andrew, they don't sharecrop anymore. We can't do that to them. They got jobs and stuff. You should have put that up on something different. Don't put a price on it anymore. They can afford it. So we got to the archives. Now we see Leland Speed and Eastover got something going on too. So Trey Lamar, now we see why you want so much money for Eastover. Oh, Leland is an originator, not a duplicator. John Horn may be duplicating the plan, but Leland's an originator. You ain't know he was the first one in Eastover. Now a house done burning Eastover, hell about to break loose. New fire department. That's crazy work.
Leland Speed also donated $1,000 to John Horn's campaign in 2009.
Ooh-wee. When the young men learn, the old men can rest. I'm refreshed. This is why. It ain't just him, it's the community. Shout out Strong Arms of Jackson, Strong Arms of Mississippi. Chief Brackney, I hope you're listening, and I hope you've already entered into an agreement with Strong Arms of Mississippi, because they have proven Operation Good as well as in there. Living with Purpose as well. But Strong Arms, Living with Purpose, Operation Good, they had an agreement with the last administration. So Chief Brackney, all that talk you did on all those videos on the black arm of the law, when you were on the panels with people with George Floyd, I Can't Breathe hats on, when you said, reform the police, we need to tear it down and build it back up so that it respects communities of color. It's your time. This is your time to shine. I mean, do you think that warrants shining? Is that strong enough to warrant?
Yeah. That's more than, well, I mean, I feel like that's we've beaten the dead, well, not beating the dead horse. We've shot the flare up on the 30th time.
When was the first time we said it? How did we say it the first time? Did we say it the same way? How did we say it the first time?
The same way? Well, it was less.
How did we say it though?
You gotta remind me.
No, it was much less. It was much less. We're bringing it harder, we're bringing it more, but it was much less. The point we're making is that we've been consistent with this. It's not things that are just popping up. So Chief Brackney, be aware of that. And so as we wind this down, you all, because I like it for 2 minutes to just bring it home and land it with the young man, you've got to understand that we're in a position now where we see what's happening in front of us. We've got 3 cities popping up inside of Jackson, and a new documentary's coming. Don't try to hit me with a car, yo. A new documentary's coming. 3 cities, 1 Jackson. Because I can't ignore Midtown. I can't ignore the people on there that work for Jackson Prep, and they're hand in hand with Fondren, and husband and wives. One works for Fondren Renaissance. One works, remember y'all pointed that out about husband and wives when my wife worked? And one works for Fondren Renaissance with Crystal Boone, is the wife works for Midtown. And then let's end it with these 2 minutes. And they'll tell me you have Midtown Charter School. So what do? You tell these black people, and this is the community saying this, we'll take your kids with behavior problems. We'll take the few of you all. So you'll They'll give your kids somewhere right now to go. We'll give you a little something over here so that you'll be quiet while this is happening and black faces are still there. You won't scream out anything to hint them. We don't want them to scream out. Keep getting your pluses, sisters and brothers, and make sure your children are safe, because all our babies should have that same Midtown experience. But we hear the flare's up, and that means a flare as in raising the alarm, one of those non-lethal flares that you shoot in the air. That's what that motion was. Shooting a non-lethal flare in the air to alert people that something's wrong. Because we've got black women and black men in Jackson, Mississippi City Council criminalizing black men, teaching their people how to understand the political system. Blowing the whistle on us. LaShia Brown Thomas and Brian Grizzell came out and both said there were implications of violence on something that all of you all looked at live. And everybody has seen me say in the same sentence I referenced the violence that's happening in other cities. I say we don't need that and we should only use our vote. We never use violence, and let me show you how to do it. But these data centers are important. All LaShia Brown Thomas, who tabled the moratorium on data centers, heard was, I'm not getting my way. And next thing you know, we were violent. The same thing put Emmett Till in the ground this sister used, and we're not stretching the truth. Different outcome in 2026, same strategy. So get prepared for next week, because it's a big week. Next week, we'll have Chief Willie Owens on Tuesday of next week, hopefully, and he's going to talk to you about what the premonition he gave you right on this network and 90.1 months ago, where he told you this would happen, our insurance rating would drop, and that now we're literally fearing a new push from the legislation to bring a Jackson Metro Fire to accompany Capitol Police for the new Jackson that doesn't include West and South Jackson. We'll be right back tomorrow at the same time and same place. Wait for our new documentary, 3 Cities, 1 Jackson. Shout out Midtown, and not in a good way. For my co-host,
Keon and Perry.
And myself, Tarek Abdul-Tawwab, we love you, Jackson. Continue to make it make sense, U.S. We out.